I'll give you some information about how the Broncos may play the Texans on Sunday. But let's get to Eddie first. He wants to talk Texans. What's up?
Hey, Dell. How's it going? Um, yeah, I'm just curious. Like, we looked good last weekend, but does that same game plan work? The 49ers were missing a bunch of guys. Still not a great defense. Does that same game plan work against what is arguably the best or second best defensive unit in all football? And so, just curious about your thoughts on what changes relative to what we did last weekend.
Appreciate it. Well, I think the game plan to get the ball out of your quarterback's hand that'll remain the same. Getting that done quickly. Whether the Broncos allow for the open space that the Texans receivers saw because of the zone stuff that the 49ers ran out there, that's a different conversation. I think the Texans plan will you'll see I would imagine Blake Fisher on the field quite a bit with your six offensive line sets. You will see back with Nico back. I think the inbreakers, him trying to win at the line of scrimmage quickly to mitigate what Cooper and Bonitto can do, but he'll have to do it against man. The Broncos, as it stands now, beyond their pass rush, they have five of the top six man coverage guys in football. Not like they're best at it, but the percentage of time they're in man. Five out of the top six guys are man guys, and they play for the Broncos. Now, Sertan won't be there, so that takes one away. But still, it's a team that loves to play man. They're better at it than when they play zone. So if they're not completely changed by the fact that Sertan's not there, we're gonna have to see the Texans win. Their receivers win, something they did not do a great job of earlier in the year. Not a lot of guys getting open, not a lot of guys creating separation. That appears to be something they're going to have to fix now with Noel getting more snaps and maybe Higgins becoming someone who's more ready to do that. That could help the Texans, and of course with Nico being back and Christian Kirk's going to be back, so he's a guy who you expect to win in the slot with the two way goes with the crossers, stuff like that. So they'll have to do it that way, I think, unless their Sertan thing changes the way the Broncos play. We know they like to get after the passer. They're the best team in football at it right now, so that'll test the tackles. But I would say the receivers have to win early to make the Bonitto and Cooper combo maybe not irrelevant because those guys will make plays, but we talked about it the last couple of days. You can't allow them to wreck the game. But I don't think the Texans will change much. So try to run the football too. Something we forget when we talk about how well C.J. Stroud played. They they were able to run the ball. Nick Chubb, Woody Marks, even when Nick Chubb wasn't breaking big ones because that's not his game anymore, he would run through an arm tackle and turn a 4 yard or 3 yard gain into a 5 or 6 and put you in advantageous situations. So running the football, we saw how it helped CJ in that offense, and then winning early against that Broncos secondary. And we heard the sound from Patrick Surtain. Riley Moss is being racially profiled, so you may get a couple pass interference calls considering how handsy he is. So hopefully those things come into effect. But as always, the cliche starts up front. Can you protect your quarterback? Can you keep him upright? And can you run the ball? You talked about it, Eddie. The 49ers were banged up. They were not a unit that had played a lot of snaps together. That was a mass unit. And when you look at the film from a 49ers perspective, there's a lot of, hey, the defense is supposed to be run this way. It didn't get run this way. And that's why some of the Texans' success occurred. The Broncos, sure, no Sertan, but they're better physically as far as available guys. Their secondary, Hufanga, Brandon Jones, Riley Moss, and they drafted a corner
Jahdae
early.
Barron.
Yeah, Jahdae Barron, the Texas rookie. He will. The question is what they'll do because I was reading up on them and they like to keep him. Even when Sertan went out last week, they let him stay in the nickel. They didn't move him to the outside.
Yeah.
So they may do that again so you don't have a rookie cornerback isolated on someone like Nico Collins. So they have invested in that secondary. It's a good one even beyond Sertan, but of course he just changes the math. And then Dre Greenlaw will be back. He's missed plenty of time through injury and then even last week because of suspension. So they'll get one of their guys they count on back. And we talked quite a bit about the pass rush. So Eddie, I think the game plan remains. The effectiveness of that game plan against a more competent unit, that'll be the question.
That to me is the question. Is like I think they did find something with the get it out quick, 6-man protection, 6-man offensive line protection, and just try to stay ahead of the change as much as possible because we've seen it every time they play a good defense that when they get behind the change, even moderately behind it, 3rd and 6, which is not crazy long, it's a bad time for them. So I think just trying to just, what CJ Stroud said derogatorily, but I mean it complimentary, death by 1,000 paper cuts, just keep the ball moving. And yeah, it's going to come down to, I think that you're going to be playing a way better defense than you did last Sunday, but at the end of the day, your offense does have to work against good defenses at some point if you want to make the playoffs. So I think that they definitely have a shot at this one. Like, I'm not as down. It is just a, another crank up the difficulty on the defense type game, and that's one the Texans haven't had a lot of success in so far.